I am very much that person that I want to know all the information, right? Like I want to know everything there is to know about everything. I'm very curious by nature, which is what made me a good police officer, right? Asking
Yeah.
those questions. It makes me a great coach. Like my clients, they even say to me, they're like, I love you, man, because you asked me the questions, but God, some of the questions you asked me just they're uncomfortable to answer. And I'm like, well, when
Yeah.
did you choose that they were uncomfortable?
Hello, my loves. This is Johanna Burkhardt. I am a multidimensional channel, teacher, healer, and author. And I am obsessed with all things metaphysical, esoteric, galactic, and of course, the healing journey. And I'm here to share my stories, my wisdom, and my teachings about being human in the illusion that we call reality. Welcome to Cosmic Blonde. Hello, my loves. We have a very special guest today. His name is Kyle Morse from Overcome Beliefs. He is a master NLP practitioner and master success coach. Overcome Beliefs is a movement dedicated to helping people rewire their identity, disrupt limiting beliefs, and step into their most powerful, aligned selves. After walking away from careers in both law enforcement and the corporate world, Kyle discovered his true calling, guiding men and women through the deep subconscious shifts that create lasting transformation. His coaching blends cutting edge NLP techniques with real world experience, helping clients break destructive cycles, heal wounded masculine and feminine energy, and embody unshakable confidence and leadership. Kyle's mission is simple to remind people they're not broken, they're becoming. He has helped clients move through fear and self doubt into clarity, resilience, and purpose. Welcome to the show, Kyle.
Thank you, Johanna. I'm glad to be here. Excited to be here.
Yeah. So I always like to start before you became this success coach and NLP practitioner and
Hmm.
seeing that you were in law enforcement of all things, like how,
Yeah.
how was that like who were you before that and what happened to kind of transform you into who you are today?
So, so basically, like my whole family has been in law enforcement since I was a kid. Like my uncles, my cousins, my grandfather was a game warden in Florida, and a sheriff's deputy here, where I live. My dad was a sheriff's deputy. So it was kind of just like ingrained in me that like when you grow up, this is what you do because this
Yeah.
is, this is what the family does, right?
Yeah.
And so I did that, and I started off in state prison at 19 years old. Now,
Wow.
I want you to imagine 19-year-old Kyle, okay, walking into a prison for the first time ever. I've never even seen the inside of a jail, right? You want to talk about a culture
Culture
shock?
shock.
Yeah, it was intense, right? But like I've always been kind of a confident person, and that really comes from the trust in myself that was instilled in me from an early age. So I started off with state prison, and I got a better opportunity at the county jail because they paid more money and had better hours to work, like better shifts. So I did that. I did that transition, and I went over and worked county jail. I worked intake and booking, and there was three of us that ran intake and booking, and we would bring in anywhere from like 60 to 90 people about every 8 to 10 hours, somewhere in there. So like it was constant moving, constant putting fires out, not literal fires, but like people fighting, people trying to
Yeah.
fight us, people fighting each other. And so like that's where the mindset that I had of being the alpha male, right? Being the big dog,
Yeah.
like that served me, right? Because
In that situation, yes.
in that situation and in that environment, because it's you're inside a confined place with criminals and people that all they know is just survival,
Yeah.
right? They don't know any other way. That's what they know. And it was just kind of it got exhausting after a while. So I decided to make the shift and go to the road, because at least on the road, I'm not dealing 100% of the time with criminals, right?
Right.
I'm dealing with citizens with, complaints with helping people with their problems,
Right.
right? And I really enjoyed that, right? But I still got that dopamine hit, that adrenaline dump when there was a car chase, a foot chase, somebody wanting to fight with us,
Yeah.
like I still got that adrenaline dump. So I was kind of able to like feed both sides of my personality where I could still be the strong masculine protector, for the people of my community. And then also, like I was able to soften back whenever somebody needed me to be soft, whether, they were having problems with their child, with a lover,
Right.
like helping people like they broke down the side of the road with a flat tire, stopping and changing the tire. Like so I really got the like both sides of the coin with that. So I really enjoyed that job. I ended my career, and if I hadn't, I would have actually retired last year with a full pension. Okay, so I want
Mm.
you to sit with this, right? I
Yeah.
want you to think about this. So there was an incident that happened, and I was present during the incident. And basically, the way that the report was written was not true. Like, just to be blunt, it wasn't true. And I went to the officer and I told him, I said, hey, like this isn't right. And he's like, well, it's whatever. Well, it's not whatever.
Right.
Like you perjured yourself, right?
Yeah.
You lied under oath when you signed that. And he's like, well, if they throw it out, they throw it out. I'm like, bro, it's bigger than that, right?
Yeah.
Like you need to fix this. Well, about a year later, I get a subpoena for a deposition. And I'm looking at the name on the deposition. I'm like, who is this person? Like I've never arrested this person because I went back through my logs to see what arrest it was so I could pull the report and like refamiliarize myself with the case. I couldn't find it. So I called the state attorney's office. I'm like, who's the arresting officer on this? And they told me, and I'm like, immediately I knew what it was. And I just had this really sinking feeling in my stomach because I knew where it was going to go. And I knew in that moment before anybody had asked me what I was going to do. Okay. I'm very big on integrity,
Yeah.
very big on your word. Like you have nothing in this life but your last name and your word. That's it.
Yeah.
So, long story short, went in a deposition, told my side of the story. They're like, well, this doesn't match. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. And the funny part about it is my story matched the defendant's story, and she was four times the legal limit. Like she was drunk four times the legal limit, but she was
Yeah.
still coherent enough to know what was going on. So all that, of course, it got dismissed, right? Like it should have. It got dismissed. An internal affairs investigation was started, and it was wrapped up 3 months later that they couldn't determine who was lying, right? Well, because I wasn't part of the good old boy club, right? Because I don't play politics. Um, basically, I was like blackballed, right? Like
Wow.
they were seeking me out, like they wanted me gone. And I seen what was coming, like I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
And so I turned in my 2 week resignation, and I'll never forget it. The chief says he's like, I'm not accepting this, and I said, I'm not asking you to. And he's like, you don't have to quit because me and the chief had known me since I was like 4, right? So
Yeah.
like I grew up like we knew
You had a
each other.
history. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a history with each other. And really great dude. A very pro officer. If I was, getting my ass beat, he was one person that I wanted to see coming. Like I had faith in this man.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I said one thing to him that was always said to me when I was little, like growing up, and that was I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. And he's like, I can't make you stay. I'm like, you can't. And so I turned in my resignation and I left. Um, and really, like it was kind of bittersweet, where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm done with this. But then like I'm just like, well, what do I do now? Like, how do I help people now? You know?
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do, didn't know where to start, and I'm in my late 20s at this point. And so then I got into corporate. I got in with a trucking company doing logistics and started as a driver, worked my way up and and built up the location that I was at. In 6 years, I helped take the location from we were like 22 drivers when I first started to when I left to do this full time, which was in May. It was about 6 months ago I left. We were like 132 drivers. So in 6 years, I helped grow, grow the business and grow the location, along with growing the culture, right? That we care about people. So then that just kind of naturally fed into what I'm doing now.
Yeah. What made you choose NLP?
Um, so I am very much that person that I want to know all the information, right? Like I want to know everything there is to know about everything. I'm very curious by nature, which is what made me a good police officer, right? Asking
Yeah.
those questions. It makes me a great coach. Like my clients, they even say to me, they're like, I love you, man, because you asked me the questions, but God, some of the questions you asked me just they're uncomfortable to answer. And I'm like, well, when
Yeah.
did you choose that they were uncomfortable? They're like, well, right now. I'm like, I challenge you to think back a little bit more. And so so I really got into NLP because so I don't like doing things like half-assed, right? Like if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go all in.
Yeah.
And really, NLP was presented to me by my girlfriend, where she's like, I think you'll be really good with this. Like you can be analytical, but at the same time, you can be, very um, what was the word she used? Um, like compassionate and emotional. So I can
Yeah.
go from looking at data to looking at, feelings and things. Like I can shift back and forth pretty quickly. And so I'm like, okay, now I never heard about NLP, right? I've never heard of NLP before in my life. And she says to me, she's like, Tony Robbins, right? I'm like, well, yeah, everybody knows Tony Robbins.
Right.
Like that's like Ronald McDonald, like Santa Claus, right? Like everybody knows him.
Even
He's
if
a
you don't
household
listen to
name.
him, you know who he is.
Even if you're not in the personal development space,
Yeah.
you've been exposed to Tony Robbins at one point or time in your life. Like I remember back like when I was little, like back in the 90s, watching him come on like a late night commercial, you know. And
I mean, shoot,
but
he's even been
anyways,
in movies.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like the more you think you're like, holy shit, like
Yeah.
he's been
Shallow
out there.
Hal. He was in the
Yeah,
elevator.
yeah, that's right, wasn't he? I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that to my conscious awareness. Now I'm gonna have to go watch that movie again. Um, but she's like, she's like, I just really think you would be good at it. She's like, you like language, you like people, you like asking questions. She's like, those are all the perfect, components to make a great NLP practitioner. And I'm like, okay, I'll check into it. I'll look into it.
Yeah.
So I watched some of the things and listened to some of the things that she has done and put out, like she wrote a book, and so I was like reading the book and going through it, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I think I want to do this. And she's
Yeah.
like, great, So I did my NLP practitioner. I left corporate early. I moved my because I already had on my calendar that I was going to leave, like I think it was like June 30th or something like that, like the end of June. I ended up pushing it up because I'm just like, I can't do this anymore.
Right.
Right. Like I was working a 12-hour day with a 4-hour round trip, doing that 4 days a week.
Jeez, that's
Yeah,
exhausting.
it was. And so I moved up my resignation early, and then I moved my NLP practitioner up as well. So like 2 weeks after I left corporate, I'm sitting in an NLP practitioner class for a week. And of course, I had to do like pre-studies and stuff like that. And it was just like I normally find myself getting bored, like the more I learn about something.
Hmm.
Like there's some subjects and topics that I'm just like, I'm really interested in the beginning, and then about halfway through, I'm like, I'm really not interested in it. Like I still have to finish it because I got to figure out, what I'm trying to figure out. But past that, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like those loops get opened within you and you got to close them. So uh, I did all my pre-studies and I did my NLP practitioner. And really, like the more I was learning, like it was like I was waking up every day to go to class like it was Christmas morning, where I'm like, oh, what am I going to learn today?
Right.
What are we going to talk about today? So it was exciting. And that's the moment that I knew, like, you know what, I'm in the right space. Like
Yeah.
I'm doing the right thing because I wasn't waking up like, oh my gosh, I got to go do this today. There was none of that. It was I'm up, I'm hitting the gym while I'm working out. I'm just thinking about what are we going to learn today? Like what did we learn yesterday? And I'm running the scripts through my mind and replaying everything. And then I went ahead and took my master NLP practitioner, which was like 2.5 weeks straight. And that one there, like I'm sitting in class and I'm like, what did I even learn in practitioner? Like I know I learned things,
Right.
obviously I know I learned things, but it was like master practitioner just like set me to a whole new level. Like just the different techniques that we learned and how to implement them. And we started talking about like we started going down the rabbit hole on quantum entanglement and quantum theory
Oh,
and stuff. And
those are my
like
favorite topics.
right, like I am a nerd. Thank you very much. I will wear that proudly
Right.
because that shit is so interesting. Like it is so fascinating to just sit with it for a minute and be like, try to wrap your mind around it.
And I mean, it's a real thing.
It is. It is. And also too, like the more I started going down the rabbit hole on like quantum entanglement and just all the things that go along with it, I started looking at like the idiosyncrasies, right? The things like how the universe conspires for you. Like especially when you have that vision. Like I've been seeing your post talking about Neville Goddard living from the end,
I love Neville
which
Goddard.
yeah, I mean, because he breaks it down so simply for you to where
Hmm.
you can understand it. Whereas before, you're like, how did I not understand this? It's
Yeah.
it's a simple concept. But I love those videos that you've been putting out, on social media, living from the end. And yeah, like it's just so crazy that once you set your mind to something that not only interests you but inspires you and ignites you, it's
Hmm.
just like there's no breaks anymore. It's just like how far can this thing run? How
Yeah.
far can I take this? And basically that's the space that I'm in right now. It's just how far can I take it? Like, you know, like you ever let a dog off of a leash after he's been tied up for a little bit where they're just
Yeah.
running around, like they don't know what to do. Like
Yeah.
that's how I feel like every day because I'm like, oh my God, there's so much stuff that I can do and talk about and impact people with. And it's just like I mean, who wouldn't want to live like that?
Right.
I could
Exactly.
never I could never go back. I could never go back to corporate
No.
world. There's no way. There is no way. I would be so like just thinking about it,
Yeah.
right? Just having that thought. I'm just like,
It turns
oh,
my stomach when I think about it, it turns my
yeah.
stomach.
It makes you physically sick because you're just
Yeah.
like that is so out of alignment with who I am and with my life purpose and my mission and my voice, you
Right.
know? Like there's no way. There's no
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. So most people, especially if they're listening to me, know what NLP is, which is obviously neuro linguistic programming. But
Hmm.
can you break it down in the simplest terms you have available to help people understand what NLP does for anyone who doesn't know what NLP is?
Sure. So I've been asked this question, and I use this with my clients whenever I have a new client. And I'm like, look, like the very first call, like, look, this is what we're going to do. Okay. So people hear neuro-linguistic programming, they freak out. They're like, oh my
Right.
gosh, big words. Big
They are
words
big
that I don't
words.
know yeah, big words I don't know what they mean. They're fancy words, right? It's simply put, it's just a modality that speaks to the unconscious mind. That's it. So
Hmm.
neuro is your nervous system, right? Everybody has one. It's your nervous system. Linguistic is just how I talk. The words that I use, and also not only how I deliver them, like with my tonality, but also how I hold my body, my physiology, right? Because those are the three parts of communication:
Yeah.
words, tonality, physiology. And then programming, people, that's what really turns people like they're like, oh my gosh, you're going to reprogram me. No,
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm just going to help you remove the programming that no longer serves you and help you install programming that you already have with inside of you.
Yeah.
I'm going to install that programming over for you. You're going to do everything. Like, and that's what I tell my clients, like, I cannot make you do anything that you don't want to do,
Yep.
right? The unconscious or the subconscious, people, use them interchangeably. I use them interchangeably. There is differences, with them, but they're like really deep and scientific, and I fully don't understand it. So unconscious, subconscious, to me, it's like that's the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. We're talking about the part of your mind that runs 95% of your daily habits, right? 95% of everything, right? The stuff that you're not consciously aware of, So, like, one way that I explain this to people, because they're like, what are you talking about? I'm not consciously aware of it. I see everything. Do you?
Yeah.
Do
You
you?
don't trust me. You don't.
And I'm like, okay, let's do a little practice, right? Can you see your nose? And they're like, well, yeah. Good. Did you see it before I said that to you? No. Right, because your mind deleted that information. Because your nose was not important to what was going on. So your brain, your unconscious mind, deleted that information out of your conscious awareness because it's not important to you.
Yeah.
Now, if you're deleting the nose right off of your face, what else are you deleting in your life that's holding you back from stepping into your greater self?
Right.
And they're like, holy shit, probably so much. I'm like, they're like, probably so much. And I'm like, definitely so much. There's no probably with it. It's definite happening. And I actually I don't know if you saw my short. I did a short this morning. I could have swore they put a brand new clock up in the gym, right? It had been there the whole time. But because I don't care what time it is when I'm at the gym, I never paid attention to it. I never
Right.
saw it. My brain deleted it. Well, today I had to be conscious about what time I got done because I had to be back because I had to make sure Lotus was up and Dane was off to school. And so I was on the treadmill and I just happened to look up from the treadmill and there's a clock right there on the far wall from me. And I'm like, when did they put that clock there? Right? Has it always been there? Like, this is what I'm thinking as I'm working
Yeah.
out, right? I'm not focusing on my workout, I'm focusing on that clock. And so I went and asked the lady, I'm like, hey, when did y'all put that clock up? She's like, it's been there from the beginning. I'm like, really? She's like, yeah, I deleted an entire clock that had been in front of my face for a month.
Yeah.
Then that got me thinking, what else am I deleting? You know? So even with me, with all the knowledge that I have and all the training that I have and all the life experience that I have, I still delete things out of my conscious awareness.
Yeah.
So basically that's what NLP is. It's helping you, basically helping you get out of your own way, right? Because we are our worst enemies.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
also think it helps with building not I like the when we talk about neural pathways, I like to use the
Hmm.
analogy of a freeway, right? A free
Right.
way of information to flow. That's
Hmm.
why I correlate the two. And it's not that the old programming ever really goes away. It's like if you're going from A to B and there's several freeways, or just say one and they build a new one, the old freeway doesn't go anywhere, right? People can still take it. But now
Hmm.
you have rerouted yourself to take a new freeway that was just built
Hmm.
because maybe it saves you some time or maybe there's less traffic. It's the same way in our mind. It's like the other pathway just goes dormant pretty much. It's like you
Hmm.
you could go back and revert to that if you really want to, but it's about building the new freeway of information that is more
Hmm.
serving to you in some kind of way. So that's the way I like to explain it. I use NLP, but I don't use it in the traditional way. And so
Hmm.
which leads me in my next question for you is, do you mix NLP with any other modalities?
So, really, like NLP, to me, like it's its own standalone
Yeah.
thing, like
Oh,
its
it
own
definitely
standalone
can be.
modality,
Yeah.
you know. However, like I really enjoy and pride myself on not doing the same program for each person, right? Because we're
Okay.
all we're all different, right?
Yeah.
So, like I really rely on like my past experience, right? My life experience, things that I've went through myself that I have, relatable knowledge on to help my clients, with whatever it is. Now, obviously, if they have something that I've never lived, I've never lived it. But I also incorporate, the teachings like Neville Goddard, the living from the end, and really like that kind of blends in with NLP when it comes to like future pacing, right?
Yes.
Like timeline therapy, dropping, your future self into your timeline, dropping it
Yeah.
into the future to where it's there. So I like doing that. I'm in Florida, so I can't practice, hypnosis. I can't practice hypnotherapy because I'm not a licensed medical professional.
Wait,
It's
hold up.
Mhm.
Florida requires hypnosis practitioners to be medically licensed. Is that what you're saying?
Y- yes, ma'am. Florida does.
I
Mhm.
had no idea.
Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
so even though I'm a master certified hypnosis, right? I'm master certified hypnotist. I cannot promote myself, nor can I practice it because if I do, then I would be practicing without a license.
It's because I say
However,
when I went through my NLP training, I did hypnosis training as well. That's wild to me.
yeah. However, I know what like all hypnosis is just the use of hypnotic language,
Hmm.
with suggestion. Okay, so I'm not practicing hypnosis because that would make me, you know, that would make it that I'm practicing without a license. But I know how to frame my words to where I get the result. Now, I don't do hypnosis sessions,
Yes.
right? But I will use language in a way that will get the client's conscious mind to kind of take a little vacation, take a little field trip out the way. So then I can speak to the unconscious mind to land the the parts that the client wants installed, or reinstalled in them to
Yeah.
create that compelling future for themselves.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of blend that. And then like like I brought up David Bayer. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Yeah.
David Bayer. So like he's spoken about some things and he kind of mirrors Neville Goddard, a little bit. Like he uses a lot of Neville Goddard's teachings. But really it's just that, like I use NLP as my main modality of transformation, but then I use little things from Neville Goddard, from David Bayer, from Tony Robbins, from my life experience, from things my granddaddy told me when I was 6 years old,
Hmm.
like like whatever I feel is relevant in the moment
Yeah.
to get the client the change that they are paying me for themselves to get,
Right.
you know. I mean, I'll use what I need to use to get that change for them, help them get that change. Obviously, they have to be the one to actually want the change,
Right.
you know. But really, like so far, like NLP is really the only modalities that I've actually like formally studied. So that's what I feel the most comfortable with.
Sure.
And
Do
I
you
know I
have
went
it?
the long way
No,
to
no,
answer
no.
that question.
No, no, it was all relevant. It was all good information and stuff I didn't know. I mean, like I guess I could never move to Florida then because I use a lot of hypnosis in my work, and
Yeah.
and the meditations that I put out. So good to know. Johanna's not living in Florida. Do you have a story that sticks out to you? Obviously, you're not using names, but a story of transformation that really just stuck out for you that's like been like, wow, that was cool that that happened.
Oh, yeah. So I actually have a couple,
Okay.
and like there's two that really are like my favorites, right? Like I love the transformation that I saw like right before my eyes, like just seeing that shift.
Yeah.
And really the one that I'm going to go with today, right? The one I'm going to go with today was a client that didn't know me from anybody, right? He was a cold lead. He reached out to me. I can't remember where. Bark.com. I found him on Bark. He submitted like a proposal about this is what I'm looking for, this is what I need help in, blah blah blah, right? And so I responded to him and I'm like, "Hey, like this is who I am, this is what I do. Let's get on a call." We got on a call. He's like, he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I want to work with you." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Signed the contract, started work the next week. And he was working around confidence, right? Like he was a younger, like he's 2 years out of college, and so he's in his early 20s, and he's just like, I'm just struggling with confidence, in like social settings and even at work. I'm like, great. All confidence is trust within yourself. That's it.
Yeah.
Like I just did a whole YouTube video about this too. So it's funny that we're talking about this. Maybe that's why it's top of mind right now.
Yeah, probably.
But so anyways, so we had our first 1 hour call together, and I gave him a couple of tasks. Like I give all my clients, I give them weekly tasks to do, right? Because I want to make sure that like the only time they don't the only time they're not working on themselves is, when we're together, right? Like I want you to work on yourself even when we're not together.
Yes.
So, because like, I mean, 1 hour a week, like how many more hours a week are there that I'm not standing there, like helping you with these things,
It
you
also
know?
will show you how committed and dedicated the client is because if they
Yeah,
don't do the
exactly.
work, yeah.
Exactly, And um I love tasking. I love tasking. I love giving homework, you know. But anyways, so we had the first hour call and I tasked him and then came back the next week and got on the call and I'm like, "Hey man, how's the week been going for you?" He stopped me and he's just looking. He's like, and he's looking at the camera. Now, I don't know what he's fixing to say, right?
Right.
My limiting decisions, because this is one of my first clients that I brought on as a brand new coach. My limiting decisions, my unconscious filters are like, oh my God, he hates it. He's going to want a refund. This is the worst thing ever. What did I do? I must have done something wrong, right? Because
Yeah.
those were my limiting decisions and my limiting beliefs that I still work through myself,
Yeah.
right? Like people think, and I've even had people say this to me, like, "Oh, well, you just think you're just the best thing ever. You have no problems because you're a coach and you know all the answers."
Oh my
Wrong,
God, that's so far from the
wrong.
truth
Yeah,
for most coaches.
yeah, no, yeah, completely wrong. Like I wake up every day and I struggle with things just like you do. The only difference is I offer and allow myself the awareness of what's going on, and I offer
Right.
myself the stillness to really process what's happening.
Right.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
I have the knowledge to know, okay, I need to stop this and really sit with it and feel it to figure it out.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so like we got on the call and he's just looking, he's just like, man, right? And I started spiraling in my mind. Of course I stopped myself so then I don't project it onto him.
Right.
And he's like, I don't know what you did to me last week. And I'm like, okay. Well, I didn't do anything to you. Like everything we did, you were consciously aware of everything that we did. He's like, no, he's like, I have not felt this confident in ever of my entire life. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, so is that a good thing or a bad thing? He's like, it's fantastic. I'm like,
Right.
great. Let's build on that. Let's build on that energy that you brought to this call today. And so we worked again. Now, whenever I hire somebody new, especially if it's a cold lead and I really don't know them, I only work with them for 3 months just because I want to make sure that I'm a good fit for them. They're a good fit for me. Because the last thing I want to do is get someone into like a year contract and then they don't like working with me or I don't like working with them. And then we're committed to each other,
Yeah.
because then it's miserable, right?
Right.
So, and I wouldn't feel ecological in taking their money, especially if I don't like working with them or they don't like working with me, right? Like that doesn't feel ecological to me.
Right.
So I do a 3 month kind of like trial period, right? And after the 3 months, we were on our second to last call, and I asked him, I'm like, so we're coming up on the end of our 3 month contract. Where's your mind about re-upping? Yes. And I'm like, you did. I said you didn't even let me finish. He's like, I don't need you. I don't need you to finish. He's like, he's like, you offer 6 month and 12 month programs too, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay. He's like, send me the information for both of them, and I'll let you know. So okay, great. He read up for the 12 months. So he
Nice.
bought my most expensive package because he saw the transformation that he was getting by working with me in just those 3 months. He saw the transformation within the first week,
Right.
right? So really like that, like his story of when he came to me to where he is, we've been working together now for like 4.5 months now, almost 5 months. Yeah, because I got him right after I got practitioner certified. So yeah, like 4.5 months. Um, like it's like I love talking with him. Like he is the ideal client, right? Like he's like, "Hey, like I was struggling yesterday with this. Great. Let's go down the rabbit hole on that one and figure out where that actually came from, And
Yeah.
he's open and receptive to it, which that's that's all I want my clients to be. Just be open to it. I had Have you ever had anybody say that what you do is woo woo?
All the time. Actually, I have a nickname. It's the Woo Woo Queen.
The woo woo queen.
Yeah.
Oh, I am
My
honored to
first
meet you.
podcast before this one, it didn't usually it said Johanna Burkhardt, but it said Woo Woo Queen underneath it. And
I love
so
that.
and I'll eventually get my own license plate that says it too. But yeah, I've been dubbed the Woo Woo Queen. It's my favorite
It's
word.
funny. It's funny. So like so when people say that the stuff is now there's some things that I feel are woo woo, right? Like yeah, I'm not going to go down that with what I consider that because I don't want to offend anybody, because these are my beliefs that I
Oh no,
have,
yeah, I think you
right?
should share them because
Um,
everybody's like, listen, this is why we do this. Like, let's really get to know you. Like what is that? You
um,
know?
so I have a friend and she's so sweet. She's the sweetest lady ever. Like she's just so sweet, but she believes in garden fairies.
I believe in garden fairies. I believe in fairies, period.
Right, right, but like I don't know to what degree, right? We were going out somewhere and she's like, well, hold on a minute. She's like, yeah, I'll be coming. Just hang on a second. I'm like, okay. So she got to us like 30 minutes late and I'm like, what happened? She's like, oh, I had to tell all my fairies good night. I'm like,
Okay.
what do you mean? I'm like, what do you mean? And that's when she told me and I'm like, okay. Now, mind you, she was smoking some weed at the time. So I'm like, was it the weed talking or is that really her? So then I had to wait until I knew that she wasn't high. And then I asked her, I'm like, you really have garden fairies? She's like, oh yeah. Yeah, I do. And I'm like, good for you.
Good
I'm
for
I'm
you.
happy for you. I'm happy for you. That to me is kind of woo woo, right? Because I'm
It
like,
is, and I'm not going to go say goodnight to all my fairies, and nor do I need to walk up to, and do that. But do I communicate with fairies? Can I see fairies? Absolutely. I've even had fairies documented in my videos where I've been able to slow the pace down so people could see them.
really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I photographed fairies.
I'm
There's
gonna have to see
one
some of these things. Like you got to show me these things. I
that
got to see this. I got to see this stuff.
yeah, I don't I gotta it usually comes up on my Facebook memories every year, the video of the fairy that I slowed
Hmm.
down. I cannot find for the life of me the fairy picture that I took. It clear as freaking day. Clear as day, you can
Hmm.
tell it's a fairy if you zoom in. I've been searching for that photo forever. But yeah, but that might be another level of saying goodnight to them and doing that. But, to each their own. Some get a little out there.
Well, and here's the thing, right? I am very good about respecting other people's model of the world,
Yeah,
right? Like I know that everybody is different and we all don't have the same reality, right? Even though okay, so like even though we're on the same call and your
yeah,
listeners are listening to the same show, like to the
yeah,
same conversation, that everybody's going to take away different parts of it and they're going to hear the conversation in different ways, right?
absolutely.
So I try to be very mindful. Okay. I say that I try to be because I really strive to be very mindful of, you know, everyone's model of the world, right?
Yeah,
Because it's all different,
yeah.
you know. But so I was doing the reason why I asked you the woo-woo question is because I was doing with this same client that re-up with me, the one with the confidence. Um, so what actually like triggered that thought in my head of the woo was the first call.
This episode has been brought to you by Evolve. Evolve is an all inclusive membership designed to help you shift your frequency so that you can create the reality that you are desiring. We do that through shedding parts of ourselves, identities shaped by trauma, our childhood, and societal beliefs. And we start to align with more of our authentic selves, which is the most magnetic version of us. Utilizing a combination of pre-recorded digital content, which includes 52 plus digital products, 9 full-length digital courses valued well over $5,000, a meditation library, and so much more. It also includes 2 live monthly group Zoom meetings that include hot seat coaching, live channeling, guidance, and of course, community. There is a full price yearly rate bonus which is a custom binary beats track that is courtesy of Earth's Kiss Alchemy. This is a custom track created with technology that analyzes your voice and creates a binary beats to help realign your frequency back to your highest truth, which is also a $350 value. If you would like to join Evolve and have exclusive access to Johanna Burkhardt, please check the link in the description box below.
I had him do a power pose, like stand in a Superman pose.
Yeah.
Superman when he's standing up on a building, he's got his hands
Yeah.
on his hip, his chest pushed out, he's looking
It's
up.
powerful to do that.
It is right now. I knew this prior to getting into NLP, right?
Sure.
Because the mind body connection. I know that how you hold yourself is really how you tell your mind what you are, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're slumped down like this, like you don't feel powerful. You don't
No.
feel, you don't feel persuasive or influential. But if you sit back, you sit up nice and tall, you feel different, right?
Right.
So I told him, all right, so we're gonna do this power pose. So can you stand up? And so he's like, yeah. So he stands up, and I'm like, okay. I want you to just take a deep breath, relax this and that and everything. And we started doing it, and I could see him. I couldn't see his whole body, but I could see from like just below his nipples down. Like I could see that on camera, and I could tell that he was like chuckling because I could see his belly kind of bouncing up and down a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I stopped and I said, I'm sorry, man, is there something like funny right now? Like I don't know, like are you mentally ready to do this? And he stopped and he sits down at the computer and he like looks at me. He's like, you want me to do what? And I'm like, yeah, this is what I want you to do. He's like, bro, that sounds so silly. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so you're afraid of being judged, right? You have a fear of
Yep.
being judged. Where else does that show up in your life? With confidence, right?
Yes.
So, so I'm like, so right now you are literally rewiring yourself to be confident. You're
Hmm.
fighting it in real time. You're fighting for your limitations right now.
Yeah.
Like you're fighting for your box, step
Yeah.
outside of your box. I said, is there anybody there? Is there anybody in your house right now that you feel is going to judge you for what you're doing? He's like, no, I'm by myself. I said, do you feel safe with me or do you feel that I'm going to judge you? He's like, well, no, because you're telling me what to do. And I'm like, okay, so what's the problem?
Right.
He's like, well, I guess there isn't one. I'm like, great. So are you ready to do this? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So we did it. And I told him, I said, now I want you to do that every morning before you like make it the last thing before you walk out the door.
Yeah.
Right. He's like, okay. I'm like, I want you to do it. Okay. And really feel those feelings of feeling confident. Right. I want you
Yeah.
to feel it, embrace it, like absorb it, let it soak into you. He's like,
Should have told him to put
okay.
on a costume too.
I was gonna mess with him, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed working with him, so I didn't
Yeah.
want him to be like,
You don't want
I
me
don't want
mad
to
at
work with you
you.
no more. Yeah, yeah, I'm mad, so I'm not going to work with you no more. Because I really enjoyed work. Like the first call, I really like. It was probably one of my favorite first calls.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so we got back on the call the next week, and he was just talking about how he, how he just felt the shift so much, and how like it was just like it literally blew his mind because
Yeah.
he's like, I had so much doubt that any of this stuff was going to work, but I was willing to try it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
great. So you were willing to step out of your box of comfort to grow, right? Let's continue with that, right? And then so I asked him, I said, so how'd the power pose go? He's like, you know what? He's like, while I was doing it and you were walking me through it, he's like, all I could think in my head was, this is the dumbest thing ever. How the fuck is this gonna work? This shit ain't gonna work. And I'm like, right. I'm like, but then once you slowed your mind down and you focus on what I was telling you, right? And then you got into that feeling, he's like, I kind of felt a little bit of a shift. And I'm like, right, which then was evidence to your unconscious mind that you can do things that are uncomfortable, which is going to feed your confidence,
Yes.
right? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so then did you do it the rest of the week just before you walked out the door in the morning? He's like, I did. And I'm like, how'd you feel? He's like a whole different person. I'm like, right.
Isn't
So
that wild?
how woo woo is it if it works? It's not
Yeah.
crazy if it works,
Right.
right? And so he's like, that's probably my favorite one. So it's funny because like every time we talk on the phone, like on Zoom, whenever we have the meetings and stuff, he's like, oh, I ran into this, this difficult situation. And he's like, I didn't even have to physically stand in the power pose. I just had to play it in my head
Right.
That's what I was
Exactly.
doing. He's like, and I instantly snapped is like, oh no, no, that's not who I am. This is who I am. I'm like,
Yeah.
you see how powerful this is? And he's like, bro, he's like, I have no idea where I would be if I wasn't working with you.
That's
I said,
amazing.
well, would you be where you're at right now? He's like, no.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, like that to me is like the best thing ever. Like when somebody says, I don't know where I would be because the thing is that, and you've done a lot of work with people, right? People want to
Yep.
thank you, right? They want to thank you. And
And I
while
always
I'm
tell them, you're the one who did the work.
exactly, you're the one that did it. Like the only thing I did was I just
You
guided
guided.
you
Hmm.
outside of your box to see that there's other possibilities,
Right.
right? There's other 126 bits of information out there.
Yep.
That's all I did. You did the work.
Yeah.
I just I just know what questions to ask, like watching you, listening to you. I know what questions to ask to get you. Like I know what the answer is, but
Yes.
I want you to find it for yourself. Like
Yeah.
I
And
don't want to tell you what it is.
I was just talking about this, like, being that I channel, and I have access to the answer that's for them, but I do the same thing. I reverse engineer it
Hmm.
and say the question that will help them find the answer because
Yes.
then they're never going to forget it, right? They
Right.
have a better chance of retaining it because they're the
Hmm.
ones that did the work to access the answer. And that makes it more powerful. But what you were saying about his pose, I mean, that's pretty much what Neville Goddard is, and a lot of other. He's not the only one that talks about this, but and same for me. I talk about it in my own way, but it's the state of being that creates reality. So
Hmm.
if you're struggling with wrapping your mind around it, like what is it to be confident? How do I speak confidently? All those things. Doing something so simple as a Superman pose, right?
Hmm.
That's changing your state of being. And through
It is.
changing your physical state of being internally, you're going to project a whole different type of reality. You're going to speak differently. You're going to handle situations differently. And so you can start with the body instead of the mind.
Hmm.
It doesn't, it's whatever's going to, path of least resistance, like which
Right.
way is going to be the easiest way to get you into that state. So I love that you did that. I think that's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah, and really it's like, what is the most resourceful thing that the client can do for themselves that's going to help them get that change,
Yeah.
right? Because like I said, no two people are identical,
Nope.
you know? So like again, that's where I know, okay, like watching them, listening to them, I know, okay, I got question A, question B, question C,
Yeah.
right? And then while we're discussing the thing or talking about it or working through a problem that they have, like it's weird because like I don't even have to think about what question to ask. It just like drops into me
Yep.
like this question. And so
Yeah.
then I'll ask it, right? And sometimes the questions will be crazy, right? I'm not gonna lie. Like sometimes
Those
sometimes
are
I
the
have some
best
crazy
questions, though.
I had some crazy ass questions, right? With like a double negative, a triple negative in there, Like I remember one time one of my favorite questions to ask somebody is what wouldn't happen. They're like, "Wait, what? Hold on, what?" Like, and you could see them searching for it. You can see them trying
You
to
just
find it.
jumbled their brain.
Yeah, yeah. But again, that's the linguistic part
Hmm.
because by me saying that, right, their conscious mind goes on a trip because it's trying to figure out what I just said. The unconscious mind, as you know, is so much quicker than the conscious
Yep.
mind. The unconscious mind already knows what I said, processed it, and served up the answer
Yeah.
before they even had a chance to realize what they were even saying. And so, like, I've heard some pretty wild things, and I've even told people, I'm like, look, like, when I ask you this question, I want you to give me that initial gut hit, the very first response that comes up for you, right? Even if it doesn't make sense, especially when I'm like talking about like meta programs, like trying to find out people's meta programs, like give me that first response. I
Yeah.
don't want that conscious response. I want the
No.
unconscious response.
Yes.
And so like they'll say some wild things. And they're like, wait, what? What? That doesn't even make sense. I'm like, good, good. I'm glad it doesn't make
Well,
sense.
intuition doesn't always, most of the time, it doesn't make logical sense and it rarely speaks in incomplete sentences. So I'm the same
Hmm.
way. I'm like, first thing, because otherwise the ego is searching for what they think is the right answer. And
Right.
just, you
Yeah.
just got to trust that first thing that shows up.
trust your unconscious mind to serve up the correct answer because even if it doesn't make sense, right? The unconscious mind knows what you're talking about, knows what it means, right?
Right.
It has that internal representation where it understands what it's saying to release it because the unconscious mind is not going to offer up the information until it's ready to heal that part
Right.
that has been hurting them, right? Because
Yeah.
they've even said to me, they're like, well, what if something comes up when I was like 7 or something? I'm like, only if your unconscious mind is ready to let it go,
Yeah.
and when would now be a time to let it go? And they're like, well, right now. I'm like, good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. But really like that's one thing too, because I've had people ask me the difference between like traditional therapy and what I do. They're like, "Oh, you're a therapist." No, I'm not. Don't insult me, please.
No, I mean, I swear, I feel like I've been bagging on therapists on every session I've been on or every
They're
podcast.
great. They're great.
They're,
I
listen,
have
they're good. There's good therapists out there, but
Mhm.
majority of them, I'm sorry, you're just venting. They're not
Yeah.
leaving you with tools or not
It's
helping you.
talk therapy.
Yeah. And I
It's
mean,
talk therapy.
I have seen so many therapists over the years, and I've had a few who were intuitive and who used out of the box thinking, who also went
Hmm.
through trauma. To me, the ones that have been through life experiences, the ones that healed themselves through their own stuff, and the ones that kind of go outside of the traditional box of therapy that they were taught,
Hmm.
those are the best ones. And they really
Yeah.
provide you with heals, especially if they're connecting you back to your body. But honestly, a lot of them are you're just venting.
Yeah. Well, so like I have therapists that are friends, and like I love them to death. Like I
Yeah.
could not do that job.
Yeah.
I could not do that job. So like one thing too, because I had a lady, what's today? Wednesday. I had a lady on Friday last week. We got on a call and she's like, "Oh, well, I've seen, this therapist and that therapist and I've done this and I've done that and I can't let go of this pain that I have." Okay. So, and I just asked her, I'm like, it's an emotionally charged event that happened, right? She's like, yes. I'm like, great. Are you currently under doctor's care right now? She's like, no. And I'm like, okay, if you're willing to seek, my services, I would be willing to, have more conversations with you, have more calls, get you on my calendar. She's like, I'm going to try it. I'm like, great. Got a contract signed up, everything. So that was on Friday. We had the first call on Monday, and I had to think what week it was, just because like September like is doing like 90 and
Oh,
a 35.
I can't keep track. I can't. I don't do time anymore. If it wasn't for my calendar, I would never know what day it is.
Yeah. So we got on the call. She got on the call with me on Monday, and she was visibly sad, right? I could see she was visibly sad, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Is now a good time?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Everything's fine." And I'm like, "Okay. Well, first off, I know you're
Hmm.
lying to me,
Yeah.
right?
Those words fine
Because
just gave you away.
Cause yeah, cause I used to be one of those people, right? Where like I was just dying inside and I'm fine. I'm
I'm
good.
fine. It's all good.
And so, so I got her to calm down and really reset back into her body and drop the emotion of sadness that she had. And so I asked her, I said, "Do you want to release sadness?" And she's like, "Well, yeah." I'm like, "Okay, great. So let's do this. Let's release anger and sadness together, right? We're going to release them back to back using time techniques." And she's like I just can't think about I just can't think about it. I'm like, "Great, even better." Because
Right.
what I do that's different from your therapist is I don't make you associate back to the traumatic event.
Yeah.
She's like, "What?" Right. Like with therapy, like whenever someone says what to me, I just say yes. And they're like, "Wait, hold on." And I'm like, "Okay, so in therapy," I said, "Correct me if I'm wrong. In therapy, you have to talk about it, which reassociates you to the problem, right? To the trauma, to the event." She's
Hmm.
like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "We're not going to talk about it." She's like, "Well, how am I going to release it?" And I just said, "Do you trust me? Do you trust yourself?" And she goes, "Well, yeah." I'm like, "Okay, well, let's do it then. If you're willing, like if you're interested in letting it go, let's
Yeah.
let's let it go." She's like, "Okay." So we did the techniques, and that sadness, boy, sadness was that one was deep on her. Like it did not want to let go.
Hmm.
And so like I just continued to work at it, just continued to drill down on it, and And finally, after about 20 minutes, you know, she all of a sudden, like you could just see the physical shift in her. Like her color just changed, her posture changed, her face physically changed. She was just like, and she opened up her eyes. And I'm like, great, how was that? She's like, what just happened? I'm like, how do you feel? How do you feel? She's like, like a weight's just been lifted off of me. I'm like,
Right.
great. I'm like, so go out to the future, right? And then I future paced her. And she's like, I can't find it. I'm like, good, stop. Don't try to find it. Don't try to reassociate back to it, right?
Yeah.
If you can't find, when I ask you, if you can't immediately, if it doesn't immediately come up for you, don't go searching for it, right?
Right.
And then she asked me, she's like, "Can you send me a copy?" She's like, "You record these meetings, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Can you send me a copy of it?" No. She's like, "Why not?" And I'm like, "Because I don't want you reading the transcripts or watching the video and then reassociating back to the problem." And
Good for
she's
you.
like, that makes sense. I'm like, I know it makes sense. Like I'm not saying no to you because I'm wanting to be an asshole. I'm
Yeah.
saying no to you because you just paid me money to let go of a problem that you've been in therapy for 7 years, and we just fixed it in 20 minutes. And
Damn.
she's like, that is fucking crazy. I'm like, you're
Yeah.
welcome. You're welcome,
Yeah.
and thank you. I made sure to thank her for being vulnerable enough and willing enough to actually want the change. And so she's like, can I have 2 meetings a week with you? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, you can if you want
Can you
to,
fix all of my problems? Help me
yeah.
release it all?
And she's like, oh my gosh, she's like, I didn't even know that this was even a thing. And I'm like, great, but now that you do, how does that change your outlook on what you're going to do now? And she's
Yeah.
like, I have no reason to go back to therapy. She's like working with you, I'm going to be able to fix my issues that I have. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, let's not think of them as issues. Let's think of them as opportunities, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't like the word problem or issue. Like my clients come to me like, oh, I got this problem. I'm like, no, you had this opportunity.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, it's a problem. And I'm like, right, but it's if
A
at the end of the
problem
day, it's an
is also an opportunity, always.
opportunity to choose something different, to choose something
Yes,
better. Yeah.
absolutely.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
I always tell people wherever there's a problem, there is also a solution. This is universal law.
Mm.
And so it
Yep.
absolutely is also an opportunity because it's telling you to look somewhere else. It's telling you what
Exactly.
else is available. And so I love that. And I also think it's almost beneficial sometimes when people don't understand what you do. Like
Hmm.
a lot, I'll have people who will come to me sometimes and they don't understand what I do because my sessions, they're called quantum shift sessions. Well, what the hell does
Hmm.
that mean? It's like, well, let's just dive in. Like, if I could sit here and analytically explain it to you, or we can just get into it.
Yeah.
And
So when
catching them off guard is always the best
Mhm.
thing with, again, same thing. Like that's how my NLP comes in is I catch them off guard with the way that I speak to them. And that's exactly what we need because then
Yeah.
they don't realize like they don't have time to plan or prepare. It's just like boom,
Hmm.
boom, boom.
Off the cuff, yeah.
Yeah, off the cuff.
And excuse me, that's like the best way to be because like you said, when they try to analyze it, they're trying to consciously think about it.
Yep.
But when
We don't
they
want
don't know
that.
what you're doing,
Yeah.
yeah, when they don't know what you're doing, like they get out of their own way. Like you're
Yeah.
getting them out of their own way.
Yeah.
Conscious mind, go over there and sit down and shut up a minute. Like let me talk to the part that actually runs the
Yeah.
show. Let me
Yep.
talk to the boss,
And that's
which is
it.
your unconscious mind.
That there and the different versions of you, like inner child work, parts work, there's different versions of you that can be in control that you're not even
Hmm.
aware of. But I'll get because I get a lot of spiritual people or people who have been through an awakening and they'll come into this
Hmm.
session and you can just tell their higher self is there and they're channeling from their higher self. And I always say your higher self is not allowed here. They're not invited because we're not going to get anywhere like
Yeah,
that,
because it's gonna block the
Exactly. I'm like,
parts that
nope.
need to be healed and
I'll
fixed.
literally stop them, and be like, higher self is kicked out. Like, let's talk. Nope, we need to go down. And so I just laugh. I think that's funny. How have you used NLP on yourself?
So actually I had a full breakthrough session done. It was right about 9 hours straight for people pleasing, right? Because
That's a big
I
one.
struggle.
That's a big one.
I struggled with people pleasing, right? Choosing everybody else's happiness over my own, right? That's what kept me that's what kept me in my corporate role, right? Because I knew that other people depended on that income for support, right? Like
Yeah,
I had to be the provider for the house and
right,
make sure that everybody was taken care of. So it's like fuck my feelings. It
right,
doesn't matter what I'm a man. It doesn't matter what I feel like and what I think. Just shut up and work, right? That was
right.
my mindset, right? That was the way I really thought about things. And I know that's the way a lot of other men think about things.
Mm-hmm.
And God, us men, boy, we fight for our limitations. Let me tell you, like some of them, some of the men that I've worked with, I'm like, why are you fighting
Stubborn.
so hard for this limitation? Like you know it's limiting you. Yes, they're
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah. So why do you want to hold on to it? Let it fucking go, bro.
Yeah,
Like just let it
let it
go.
go.
So anyway, so I did a 9 hour session, a 9 hour breakthrough session.
On
Um,
yourself or with another practitioner?
no, I had another practitioner do
Okay.
it on me. And any technique that I do has been done to me, right? Like I've been through them as both the practitioner and the client.
Yes.
So that one's been done to me. Like that was like the biggest shift for me was the breakthrough session. The ones that I have used on myself is I'll use timeline therapy on myself. The different type of breathing techniques, like the box breathing, things like
Yeah.
that. Like I'll count it down in my head. The future pacing, the again living from the end like Neville Goddard. And really, like the one that I use a lot is parts integration. Like
Mm-hmm.
part of me wants this and part of me wants that. So like that's a very easy one to do. And then also anxiety, because I still have anxiety, especially when it comes to like things that are new or
Yeah.
things that are unfamiliar
Uncertainty.
with you. I'm gonna be like very candid and I'm a very honest and open person.
Yeah.
So after we had our initial meeting when we were going to decide whether we would be a good fit with each other.
Yeah.
I remember going downstairs and I told Lotus, I'm like, I'm excited and I'm scared. She's like, so what I'm hearing is you have an opportunity to do a parts integration on yourself. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, yes, I do.
Yeah.
And
Thank
so
you for
I
that
did that.
reminder.
Yeah, thank you for that reminder, right? Because even though I have all these tools, I sometimes need a mirror, right? I
Yeah.
need somebody to reflect back
God,
to me
relationships are so good
what
at
I'm
that.
doing. They are. They really are. And healthy relationships are like this relationship is like the healthiest relationship I've ever been in my life, and it's also the hardest, right?
Yes, the healthy is
But
always the most challenging.
but I would not trade it for anything. Like
Yeah.
there ain't no way, ain't no way. But anyways, regardless, I digress. So doing a parts integration on myself, I've done several of those on me where I'm like, well, part of me wants this, but part of me wants that, and that's pretty easy. And then yesterday, is it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. Um, I actually got your email that was the 24 hours before, and
Yeah.
for whatever reason, I just instantly got this hit of anxiety, and I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, like what is Johanna going to ask me? Like what are we going to talk about? Because the unknown makes people anxious,
Hmm.
right? Because I'm very much a judger, right? We talked about this. I'm a judger. I like schedules and everything has a box and like
Yeah.
there's structure. Like there's
And
I
I
love
don't I
structure.
don't give prerequisite questions.
Yeah.
No.
And so I immediately went into anxious mode, right? I went into anxiety and I started just running it in my head. And Lotus come walking into my office and she could see that
She's
she
smoke
could
coming out
see I
your
was
ears.
yeah, she could see I was having like this like mental breakdown right now, right? And she looks at me, she's like, "What's wrong? Is now a good time?" And I'm like, "Yeah, now's fine. I'm just kind of anxious about tomorrow." She's like, "Great. And when would now be a good time to release that anxiety?" And I'm like,
I
"Right
need to meet
now."
her. I love her already.
Oh my God, she's great. She's great. So she used to have electric blue hair, right? She used to have electric blue hair. And what's really funny is like when I first saw her, I'm like, like I kind of like her vibe, but I'm not really sure if she's gonna be my type of person,
Yeah.
right? Because anybody with blue hair, they're obviously making a bold statement, right?
Yeah.
So her boldness is what attracted me because I'm like, she doesn't give a fuck what anybody
Right.
thinks. Like, great. That's what I need somebody like that in my life because at that place of my life, I cared what people thought, right? Like my people pleasing
Yeah.
you know? And so she's dyed her hair black. She's natural like dark brunette, but she dyed her hair black about I don't know about a month and a half ago. And it was funny, like the next day after she dyed her hair from blue to black, I woke up in the morning, I turned over and saw black hair next to me, and I'm like, oh my God, who is that? Because I mean, so like I don't know, that
Oh,
was
she's beautiful. I
yeah,
love that
thank
color.
you. Thank you. Yeah, so that was her hair. She is no longer blue hair, but I still have it on. And I told her I refuse to get rid of that. I refuse to.
I love
Like
that
that's
color. That looks good.
oh, it was gorgeous. It was so gorgeous. It was like that aquamarine and
Yeah.
blue and teal and stuff like that. And I have a mermaid tattoo on my arm, that I actually
Oh.
got before I met her,
Yeah,
which is
that's
kind of
definitely
funny.
mermaid vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so she asked me, she's like, when would now be a good time to release the anxiety? And I'm like, heard ya. There's a technique in NLP that I use that releases anxiety in about 4 fucking seconds, right? Like it's gone. It's the easiest technique,
Is it
and
something you
I
can share?
so yeah, so I can, and anybody can do it. Like I
Okay.
don't have to walk you through it, right?
Okay.
Like anybody can, once you know
Because
the
I mean, everybody
script,
suffers from some level of anxiety. So if you have
right?
a tip that could help somebody, let's do
Yeah,
it.
sure. So yeah, once you know the script, you can run it yourself.
Yeah.
So, um, and really, it's just about being willing and open enough to try it, right?
Yeah.
So, everybody has a gestalt, right? They have a timeline.
Yep.
So the first thing to do is to establish your timeline. Some people's timeline runs through them. Some people's timeline runs, outside, like they see it outside of them. Like this is in your
Yeah.
mind's eye, so
Yeah.
in your mind's eye. So you have to like drop into yourself and, ask your unconscious mind, show me my timeline. And it'll show you. Sometimes it's left to right, sometimes it's front to back, sometimes it's vertical. It
Yeah.
can be a spiral. Like I've heard of all different types of gestalts, right? So, once you have your timeline and you can visually see your timeline in your mind's eye, you can see it. All you have to do is future pace yourself out to 15 minutes past the successful completion of the event that's causing you anxiety. And that's the key word, right? You have to ask yourself, okay? You have to go out 15 minutes past the successful completion of the event. And then once you're there, once you're 15 minutes past the successful completion of the event, turn around and face the event. And you see the successful completion of it, knowing that it's successfully completed.
Right.
And then you just float back to now and drop back into the room, back into yourself, and the anxiety is gone. And it's crazy how it works. Like some people have been like, "Oh, that sounds crazy." Be like, "Did it work?" They're like,
Yeah.
"Well, yeah." And I'm like, "So is it crazy?" Right?
Right.
Again, if it works, is it crazy? No.
Right.
So that's the biggest thing. You have to discover your timeline, okay? And then you float out to 15 minutes past the successful completion of the event. Turn around and face the event, see the successful completion of it, and then lock in that feeling, lock in that visual, and then
Yeah.
float back to now and come
And
back
the
into the room.
feeling. Lock in the
Mhm.
feeling.
You have to lock in that feeling of that
Yeah.
successful completion. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are emotional creatures, especially women. Women
Yeah,
are
we're
more emotional
sentient
than men.
beings.
Yeah, women are more emotional than men. Men are more
Yeah.
logical. But also too, men do have feminine qualities in them. They do have feminine energy in them. Even though I've
Yeah.
had some conversations with guys like, "Ain't nothing woman about me." I'm like,
It's not about being a woman.
yeah, I would challenge that, right? Because I didn't call you a woman. I called you
Right.
female, or
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
feminine energy. And I said, feminine energy is tied to emotion, right? Do you
Hmm.
not feel emotion? He's like, well, no, I feel emotion. Okay, that's the feminine energy. And he's
Most
like,
men feel anger over anything else, though.
right. And anger can be released so quickly. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand why people hold on to it. Like,
Anger is grief's bodyguard. When they don't want to feel pain, they hold on to anger.
Yeah, because it makes them feel strong. It makes them
Yeah.
feel tough.
It makes them feel protected and,
Hmm.
powerful.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so the anxiety, that one's really easy one to release for yourself that I do on myself, like normally before like networking events, especially if I'm
Yeah.
going in somewhere where I don't know anybody,
Yeah.
you know, and it's funny because like halfway through the event, and I'm meeting people and talking with people and we're sharing stories and information, I just get the thought that pops in my head like what the fuck was I even worried about? Like this is
Yeah.
great, you know. But had I let my anxiety take over, had I not released the anxiety, I would never have went. Had I not released the anxiety with
Yeah.
you, I would not be on this call right now. I would have let that limiting decision and that limiting belief win, and I would
Yeah.
not have stepped into an opportunity to expand myself and to step out of my comfort zone, to have a
Or
really fun conversation.
Or you go to the event in the anxiety and you're hyper vigilant, you're not present, your energy field's
Hmm.
not open, people aren't receptive to you, and you have a horrible experience.
Yeah.
Because again, your state of being is what creates anything. And so
Yeah.
you being able to process that in a very short amount of time beforehand, it changes your body, it changes your energy field, and you're more present and you have a much better experience.
Yeah, not only that, but everybody else that comes in contact with you, now they have a better experience of you
Yeah,
and who you are, right? So
exactly.
all you're doing is you're building that muscle up, right? To
Yeah,
trust yourself. You're building that confidence, level. You're building all those foundational parts that you need to then take that next step, right?
yeah,
And I don't know who doesn't want to not take that next step, right?
yeah.
Like, who wants to be the same they were today, or who wants to be the same they are today that they were a year ago? I don't, not me, you know.
I've met a few people who have said yes to that, which is wild to me because comfort is a cage. Like you're never,
Right.
growing and evolving
And
isn't doesn't have to be painful. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but
mhm,
I think about I would have missed out on so many phenomenal things had I not
yeah,
chosen to step outside that box.
right. And I mean, for those people that choose not to, that's because that's the most resourceful option that they have, right? So like
Yeah,
their behavior, right? Like I get asked about behavior a lot of times too, right? So behavior is not the person. Right. People think, well, I don't like them because of their behavior. No, see, you got the wrong mindset behind it, right?
yeah,
Like, like you can like the person and dislike the behavior,
yeah,
right? All a behavior is something that happened somewhere in their life to
mm-hmm,
where that was their response,
yeah,
that was the most resourceful way they could respond to that certain event and remain safe.
yeah,
The only problem with that behavior is now it's not serving them, it's limiting them, and they don't know how to let go of it. They don't know
yeah,
how to release that behavior, right? So, because I've had a lot of people ask me, well, how do you like this person or how do you like that person because they act this way, they act that way, because they act that way because that's the most resourceful thing that they know.
yeah,
My job is to show them there's a different way, there's a better way, and you can let go of that unresourceful behavior and find a resourceful one that works for you. You
yeah.
know, like that's that whole saying. I know you've heard it. The you get more what is it? You get more flies or you get
Bees
more
with
bees with
honey.
honey. Yeah,
Yeah,
you get more bees with honey. Like I'm very much that person that like let's see the good. Let's
mm,
see the like let's not focus on the bad. Let's look at that toward motivation. Like let's see what we can work toward and not push away from,
yeah,
right? And they're just like how do you do this, man? Because I was once one of those people that I'm sure somebody said, "How do you like him because of the way he acts?" Right? I'm sure I was that person
yeah,
prior, right? And I don't want to be that person, right? I
right.
don't want to be that person. I want to be the person that people come to when they're struggling and they need help stepping into their higher self or
Mm-hmm.
releasing something that's been holding them back so that they can prosper and move forward. Like that's the greatest gift ever,
Yeah,
like to see somebody actually take the teaching and have a conversation and then decide, you know what? I want something better.
yeah,
You know, that's all you got to do. Like that's half the battle is just, like the awareness that
yeah.
what you're doing isn't working.
And also, I mean, I have an example of this. So, like, there's someone in my life that I'm friends with that a lot of people don't like his behavior.
Hmm.
But I know him on a different level. I know why he
Mm.
does what he does, and it's not it. Up until recently, it hasn't really affected me by any means, right? I just accept him for who he is, love him for who he is, and understand. I have compassion. I understand why he is the way that he is. And then over the weekend, he had brought someone else around, and I met him, and by himself, he was a good person, right? We had good
Hmm.
conversation, had a good time. But as the weekend went on, his behavior was very disrespectful, very toxic to an extreme. And I had to
Hmm.
kind of check him and put him in his place. And he apologized. We moved on. Everything was fine. And then it continued the next day. And I was not going to, that my boundary is, okay, I've reached my limit of tolerating this. And I didn't take it personal, but it started to affect me. And that's when I
Mm.
was like, and I just got up and walked away. And I was like, and I'm done. Like literally, I don't want to, I didn't speak to him again the rest of the time and just completely avoided him. And so that's where boundaries also come in. Like if you can accept someone for who they are and how they act, but if it's affecting you, if it's hurting you, you have a decision to make to choose to be. You can
Hmm.
still love that person or like them,
Hmm.
but you have
Yeah.
to choose to. Boundaries are about you. You have to remove yourself from that environment or situation, and that's what I did. And I could have argued with him. I was a little bit of a gangster before I became a healer. So, I mean, I could have really done some damage. And I was like, no, we're just going to get up and walk away. I'm just going to get up and
Yeah.
walk away.
And I mean that's great awareness on your part, right?
Yeah.
Like you know that about yourself,
Yeah.
right?
And I knew why he
And
was
for
doing it too, but it didn't make it okay.
right, yeah, it
Yeah.
never like again, their behavior is just an unresourceful way of dealing with
Yeah.
something that they've used in the past that kept them safe, right?
Right.
So at no means, should you be okay with somebody disrespecting you, right? Like
Exactly.
you have that very clear boundary. And then for you to have that awareness to be like, you know what? I'm not going to argue with him because you understand,
It
and I'm
ain't
going
going
to
to
say
get me
something.
anywhere.
Well, it's not only that, but you're going to understand what I'm going to drop right now. You cannot convince somebody that knows they're right.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
No.
When somebody knows that they are right, even though you know that there's a better way
Yeah.
and that they're not right because of everything that you've been through, everything that you know, everything that you've learned, and you know firsthand there's a better way, you're not going to convince them because they're right. you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, the best thing to do is just get up and be like, you know what? Hey, I wash my hands and just walk off. And that's really people have a hard time with that, because they don't want to be mean or they don't want to, they don't want to be disrespectful or whatever. Okay, that's great. But it's okay for them to be disrespectful to you. No.
Yeah.
No, there has to be that boundary, right?
Yeah.
And me getting up and walking away is being respectful because the longer
Yes.
I sit here and they push my buttons, right? Like you said, that gangster, that
Yeah.
jackass is going to come out because Kyle may be chill, he's done a lot of work on himself, but I still have a jackass button, and I don't want to sit around and wait for somebody to find it, right? Because I've done a lot of
No.
work to not cover it, but I've done a lot of work to where that button doesn't get triggered as often as it used to,
Yeah.
right?
And he did trigger me and I had an emotional release, but I didn't make a scene. I didn't call attention to myself, I
Hmm.
just went sat in a different room and processed. But I remember sitting there in front of him and literally go in my head, I'm like, I can feel both versions there. I'm like, I'm too healed for this. Like I could get up and make a big scene right now, a big old scene, and put that boy in that, he's like 6'2", grown ass man. I could put him in his place, which honestly would have only made the situation 10 times worse. But there was a
Yeah.
part of me that really wanted to. Or I was like, I can just get up and walk away and go process whatever I'm feeling and gather myself back together and just completely remove myself from his energy.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's what I chose to do. And did other people come chase me down and find out what was going on? Sure, of course. But again, my whole point was is I'm not going to make a scene. I'm not going to bring attention to
Hmm.
him. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to go handle my business on my own. And
Yeah.
that took, I mean, that was years of work, honestly, because, I mean, 2 years ago, I probably would have flipped out on the guy. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But it's just become to a point in my life where I've done so much healing work that I'm really secure in who I am. I know who I am and I know who I'm not. And I don't need to
Hmm.
prove myself to anybody. And I was like, no, and it's not gonna like it would be a complete utter waste of my energy because, like you said, in his eyes, he was right, even though he wasn't.
Hmm.
He was right, and in his eyes, he was right, you know. And I'm like,
Hmm.
well, there
Good.
ain't,
Let,
there the denial. You can't get through that wall. You cannot
yeah,
get through that wall.
let him be right.
Yeah,
Let him be right.
I would say
Even
people
though,
think the sky's purple. Cool. Good luck with
yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly. But see, again, so this is what I talk about behavior being a resourceful, like the most
Yeah,
resourceful um, options that you have to keep you safe, right? Like you said, 2 years ago, you would have flipped out on the guy.
yeah,
But today, you know that that behavior is not resourceful for you. So you
yeah,
chose something different that
yeah,
was resourceful.
yeah. I
And
chose
now,
me, honestly.
and right, you chose you. And now here's the thing, right? Now you can look back at it and be like, man, I'm so glad that that's the way I responded. Because had you responded in that gangster way, right?
Yeah.
Had you have flipped out and,
It would have been
went
fun, but
gangster on this guy. Oh, I'm sure I'm not going to take away that it wouldn't have been fun or would have been,
yeah,
there would have been some kind of somatic release with it. Yeah.
satisfaction.
At the same time, if you look back at it now, thinking, okay, if I would have flipped out on him, if I would have resorted back to my old self, how much regret would I have right now?
Yeah.
And that regret, because you would have felt regret. I'm sure you would have, because you
I would
seem
have
like the
felt
type of person
disappointed
that
in
you're just
myself.
not exactly,
Yeah.
like you don't seem like the type of person where you just
Mm.
like go around just fucking with people. You know
No.
what I mean? Like just for the fun of it.
No,
You,
you really gotta push me to the edge for me to do something like that. And even this guy did, and I still didn't. And I was very proud of myself because if he deserved it, but again, I was like, you know what? I don't care. He's not worth it to me.
yeah,
What's
exactly.
worth it to me is regulating my nervous system in this
Hmm.
moment and processing the emotions that were coming up. Now, mind you, it was during an eclipse and there was intense energy, so it was very easy. That stuff was very ripe and very, up at the top anyway. And I was telling my other guy friend, I said, honestly, I should thank him because I've been trying to cry for 2 months. And he pushed me over that edge and allowed for the emotional release. And I kind of laughed about that, but it was true. But
Hmm.
I was very proud of the way that I handled it and let it, just like, okay, I just let me process, and people were upset. They're like, why aren't you hanging out? Like trying to figure out what was going on. And she's like, I'm just
Hmm.
trying to be alone. I'm just trying to regulate myself. Like, go have a good time. I'm not trying to mess up anybody else's good time. But
Right.
I was very proud of myself. But again, that's about being mindful of the mind and the body at the same time.
Hmm.
How I was feeling, what was going on in my mind, and going, okay, there are multiple ways I can handle this right now. Which one is going to serve me? Not my
Exactly.
ego, not my inner child, not the one that's like, we got to show teach this person a lesson or whatever. It's like, what do I need? And that's why
Hmm.
I chose me. And I was like, what I need right now is to regulate. I could give two shits what he needs. I need to
Right.
worry about me. And that's what I did. And like you said, like this is my whole mission is be the change.
Mm.
He may not have learned anything, but I guarantee you he's not going to forget that day because of the fact that I didn't. I stopped the engagement and got up and removed myself and then didn't speak to him the rest of the day.
Hmm.
And now other people who are finding out about what kind of happened, now they're seeing him in a different light and seeing how I am and was like, no, I'm not, don't, I like, I'm not trying to get attention here. Like, just go, leave me alone, go have a good time. But
Right.
he's not going to forget. I know he's not going to forget that. And maybe one day it'll have an impact on him. But guess what?
Maybe.
If it doesn't, that's okay because he's not in my life anymore, But what had an impact on me was in that moment, I chose myself. I
Hmm.
chose what my needs were and I took care of them. And that's my responsibility, And so I was really proud of myself.
Okay, so you've said that you were proud of yourself. Like I was listening to your words because it's just, it's
What you
what I
do.
do.
Yeah.
It's what I do. I can't not see it, right? I can't not hear it. Once
Hmm.
I hear it, I can't not hear it. So you were talking about, you were really proud of yourself for choosing yourself. So let me ask you this, right? So in that moment, was it difficult for you to choose that path?
No, not at all.
Okay. at any point in your life, would it have been difficult for you to choose that path?
Oh yeah, I wrote a whole book about it. It hasn't come out yet, but yeah.
Okay, good. Well, when it comes out, let me know because I want to buy it. I've been collecting books
Yeah.
right back there. I've
It's
been
called
collecting books.
Desperately Seeking Me, The Road to Finding and Choosing Myself.
Okay.
And so,
So let me ask you this then. Is there anything that comes up for you now that is hard for you or difficult or uncomfortable?
not not really. I mean, I'm sure
Not
there's
really.
things, but like there's what do you mean by that? Like there's challenging and discomfortable,
So
uncomfortable things that are going on in my life, sure.
okay, things okay, let's go with challenging, right? Use
Okay.
your words back on you. Let's go with challenging. There's things that are challenging for you to where you have hesitation about it.
Oh, no.
No,
Not
not at
anymore.
all. Not the slightest
No,
hesitation.
when I have fear, I run towards it.
Okay.
I might be uncomfortable, but I run towards it.
Okay. So then that just where I was going with this was about the evidence that you have from this
Yeah.
past weekend that you can do difficult things or hard things.
Yeah.
But you have enough evidence in your unconscious mind
Oh,
because
yeah.
you've done the work.
Yeah.
You've done the work, right? Like a person that has just like started this would have answered those questions a lot
Oh,
differently,
yeah.
right? So your unconscious mind has just files and files of evidence that you can do hard things,
Yes.
right? But if it didn't, right? If it didn't, if you were somebody that was just starting this work or somebody that was, interested in making a change and having difficulty with hard choices, that
Yeah.
would have been a perfect example. It'd be like, okay, was it difficult for you? If you say yes, great. Your unconscious mind already has evidence that you can do hard things and choose yourself and choose your peace.
Yeah.
So where else can you apply that evidence to make a different choice?
Yeah.
Like that's again, like NLP and stuff like that. Like that's the kind of work that both of us do with people, you
Yeah.
know? And uh like watching you answer those questions, I'm like, okay, she's legit because when you're like yes, no, like
Yeah.
there's no that like your body, talking about the mind body connection, like your body was very congruent with your
Yeah.
answers. And I'm like, okay, she's not trying to bullshit me because people try to pull wool over our eyes,
Oh, all the time. All the
and you can
time.
see it and you're like, okay, where else are you lying to yourself? And they're like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? I'm not lying about it. And I'm like, okay, well, let me name the ways that you are. And
Yeah.
I'll start naming off, like the different shifts in their body, their facial features, their lips, their twitch, where they're looking with their eyes, all these things, right? And they're just there looking at me like, how do how do you know all that stuff? Bro, like I do this all day, man. Come
Yeah.
on. Like
This is my
you,
expertise.
you can your words are telling me one thing, but your body's telling me something else. And physiology is
Yeah.
over 50, what is it? 55% of communication is physiology. I'm going to believe your body before I believe your words.
Right.
So it was funny like watching you answer those. Like I was intently watching you and you're like, no. And I'm like, ooh, ooh, she got some confidence in her too. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Go ahead then. Let me just go ahead and land my point that
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to land with questioning. So I love that for you. Okay. I'm just gonna be straight up honest. Like I love that for you. Like when people ask, like, what is it like to live like this? Like, explain how you feel right now.
If I feel free.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the biggest word that I hear from people is
Yeah.
just free or freedom, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not trapped in a box, especially in somebody else's box.
Right.
Like it's shit's so great. Like it blows my mind when people are like, well, I know I need to do different, but I'm just not ready. And it's like, okay, you need to suffer more. Got it. Got it. You
It's
want to suffer
exactly
more.
what it is. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
people,
You haven't you haven't
you,
suffered enough. You want to go through more pain before you
yeah.
choose something different. Makes sense. Got
Yeah.
it.
Well, until the pain of staying the same outweighs the pain of change,
Hey,
you know?
hey, say that one again.
And I mean, I've been there. Listen, I've been there. I was someone who learned, sometimes still do learn the hard way. And you know what?
Present company too.
Listen, it is what it is, you know? So what are you going to do?
We as humans love to fight for our limitations. We want to
Yeah.
we want to feel
Humans
like
are the
we are
master of
right.
limitation.
Yeah, we want to feel that we're right,
Yeah.
and like it's crazy because like even like having conversations with Lotus or something, she's like She's like, yeah. She's like, where else are you fighting for your limitations too? I'm like, stop trying to coach me right now. Stop trying to coach, you know. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's it's just crazy. Like if somebody would have told me a year ago, right, that this would be my life, I would have dead ass laughed in their face.
Right.
I would have been like, you are like, where are you getting that from?
You're
You know what I mean?
crazy.
You're crazy. Yeah. It's like, no, no,
You
Now
just
it's
got to
like,
trust the path.
oh my gosh, like, why didn't I discover this when I was in my 20s? You
I'm
know?
telling you, I've had that thought, especially in the early days. I was like, how you look back at your patterns when you know different, and you're like, how the hell did I never see that
How did I
before?
not see that? Yeah, because it's so loud, right? It's like
Yeah,
screaming at you like, "Oh my God, how was I so blind to that?"
right.
You know, why did I choose that? Again, your behavior is shaped by the most resourceful choice that you have at any given
Yeah.
moment to get you through it to where you're safe, you
Yep.
know? And then once you've done all the work and you've done the healing and you've done all these different modalities, you're looking back and like, I had all these different options to pick, but this is all I saw,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
It's crazy. Like I wouldn't change like my journey to get to where I'm at now. Like because I feel like my journey has really shaped me and molded me into, into the man that I am today, and all
Yeah,
my relationships that didn't work out just set me on the path. Just like that, just like the old saying, I'm sure you've heard it, there's no failure, there's only feedback,
right.
you know? Like Thomas Edison didn't fail 10,000 times at the light bulb. He just found 10,000 ways that it didn't work,
Yeah. And that's all
and
that's
every
all feedback.
yeah, every no is just a redirection to a yes.
Yeah.
So like that's how I approach life now,
Yeah.
and it's like, God, I wish I would have known about this so much sooner.
I
Like
know.
my life may have been a little bit easier, may have been
Yeah.
a little bit easier, not as bumpy, I would have taken that new highway instead
Yeah.
of that old beat up highway, right?
Right. With all the potholes
With all the
that
potholes
your
and
car
shit.
sings
Yeah.
into.
Yeah.
Well, if you only had one message that you could share with the world, what would that be?
Don't wait.
I love that.
Don't wait because like first off, like let me just say, like time is our most valuable resource that we have. You can never get it back. You can never buy more. It
Yep.
doesn't matter how much money you have, how little money you have. If you had something to complete over the weekend, right? It doesn't matter. When your time's up, your time's up, right?
Yep.
So why waste what little time you have on this earth? Because we don't know. We don't know when our numbers are going to get called,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Why waste that living a limited life?
Right.
Why not do something for yourself that's going to not only improve your life, but everyone else around you? Why would you wait? Just like we were talking about. I wish I would have known about this back in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be 43 in a little over a month. I'll be 43. And I'm just like, I've
Are
wasted
you a
so much
Scorpio?
time. I am a Scorpio.
No
Yes,
wonder we get
ma'am.
along. So I'm a Scorpio rising.
Okay, what's your
I
birthday?
well, I'm a Cancer sun, so it's July 13th, but my your rising sign is
Okay,
what rules your astrological chart. So Scorpio and Mars and Pluto, that those are my chart rulers. Like I'm a Scorpio rising.
okay,
And why people oftentimes perceive me as intense or super confident is because I have a lot of
right.
Scorpio energy. So when you're saying that, I was like, I already had a feeling that you were, but as soon as you said when your birthday was, I was like, oh, he is a Scorpio.
Yeah, day before Halloween. My
That's
dad's birthday
awesome.
was Halloween.
Oh, that's
Yeah, so
cool.
yeah, people talk to me and stuff like that, and if like if I really don't like them or if I feel like the vibe is kind of off, I'll tell them like, yeah, I was born on Devil's Night, and I'll just give them a blank stare. I'll just give them a blank stare. They're like, okay. I'm like, good. Now leave me alone. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
right.
Um, but like the people that know me, and like in my inner circle, and even you on this call, and like this is how I am in real life.
Yeah,
Like people like, oh, like you on your YouTube videos. That's just your professional self, right? I'm like, no, that's
yeah,
the way I really am. Like I
yeah.
really talk like that. But yeah, so that's funny. You're a Cancer. And then Lotus, she's a Pisces, so she's a water sign as well. And
Yeah, I'm all water. So I'm a Cancer Sun, Pisces Moon, Scorpio rising, and then my 12th house
ooh,
is also Scorpio. And so I'm just swimming in it. I can freeze you, I can boil you, I can nurture you.
so I I tell you what,
Uh,
like you want to talk about nerding out on some
yeah.
stuff? Like I could really nerd out on some astrological stuff. Like people are like, oh, zodiacs, that shit ain't real and stuff. Like, okay, that's fine. Like that's your model of the world. I
Yeah.
respect that. However, I have found a lot of value and truth in researching myself,
Yeah.
you know,
It's
especially
all
like
it
the
is a
day you were
reflection.
born.
It's all a
Yeah.
reflection anyway. It's not creating anything. That's we always I mean, we joke about blaming the astrology or the moons or eclipses or whatever. It's fun to blame it on, blame it on Mercury. But at the end of
Yeah.
the day, the planets are only reflecting something back to you that you had already placed in your path. And so it's just a reflection.
Yeah, but I could literally geek out with you on this stuff. Like I don't think your audience wants to listen to us geek out on this, but definitely
It's
could.
okay. It's okay.
Um,
Well, tell people where they can
yeah.
find you if they want to work with you or just
So
follow you for your little nuggets of wisdom.
yeah, so my the main way to contact me is through Facebook. Like I'm on all the social media platforms. Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook under Kyle H. Morse.
Okay.
Um, and it's a picture of me in a fishing shirt and a pair of shorts and flip flops because I
Love
live in
it.
Florida. I live in Florida, and flip flops are formal attire.
Yeah.
Okay. On TikTok, I just started getting back on TikTok, and on TikTok, I'm at Salty Florida
Okay.
because when I set my TikTok up, I was, still in my saltiness. Not only that, but again, like I got my mermaid and diver on
Yeah.
my arm. I have a huge octopus on my leg. So I'm very much a Florida boy,
Yeah.
born and raised on the water, salt water. And then my website is overcomebeliefs.com. And then
Okay.
also that's the same handle as YouTube at
Okay.
Overcome Beliefs. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You also email me, Kyle at overcomebeliefs.com. And I check my emails pretty regularly. So basically like all the platforms and I'm following you too,
Yeah.
like we're
And I'll
following each
tag you.
other.
Yeah. You'll be tagged.
Yeah.
And all of this information, you guys will be linked in the description box below. I like to have people audibly say it because sometimes if someone's driving and listening, they might remember your handle and forget to go back to check the link box.
Hmm.
So if you're there and you want, all of his information will be in the description box below. Well, it has been so much fun. I mean, we've gone for almost an hour and 40 minutes. So, I mean,
Hey.
I know we've had a good time. We've had
Having
some
a
good.
great time.
Yeah,
Had a
we've had
great
this is
time.
why I booked 2 hours for these because sometimes you just don't want to stop. There's such good conversation
Yeah.
happening, and I don't want to gyp the audience of that. So
Yeah.
it's been a
I don't
pleasure.
want you to jip me of that. I
No,
want the
yeah,
conversation.
yeah. So it's been a pleasure having you. We will definitely stay connected, and
Yes, ma'am.
I just thank you for coming on and talking with me.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
All right, you guys, we will see you in the next episode. Hey, thanks for listening. This episode was brought to you by JohannaBurkhardt.com, where it's time to defy the limits of your mind and step into your multidimensional mastery. Don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. See you next time.